Nick Shirley, however, he's got some breaking stuff happening in New York City. And I want to share this with you right now because you were told none of this fraud was happening in Minnesota, that Shirley didn't actually expose anything. You were told, I was told, that when Nick Shirley went around filming all of these daycare centers that were mysteriously empty of children, and that there was no signage and it was all misspelled and they were taking millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. He was just, looking for clicks. He didn't get anything proved. That's ridiculous. Well, Nick Shirley just so happens, after traversing the wonderful burned out landscape of California, made his way through Ohio and finally to the Big Apple itself. Where Zoran Mamdani has his wonderful maps of the world and the little tiny foreign wonders inside the city. And in his new documentary, alongside with Dr. Oz of the Trump administration, he released this trailer on a 50-minute expose of, I know you're going to be shocked, I know you're not going to believe it, more daycare fraud happening right in Zoran Mamdani's sanctuary city. Here you go.
New York is so gay.
Oh, sorry, wait, that's not the right one. I got surprised by the priorities. New York being gay. It's very, 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 very important. I think we have it. I think we have it ready to go here. Yes, we do. Here you go.
Like $12.9 million on 7,000 patients, and you say there's not 7,000 patients. Are you committing fraud? Does this daycare pay you to come here?
Yogi.
She just said yes. Here, 3 durable medical equipment companies were launched, and so we're wondering, where's the equipment at? Our tax dollars are paying for old people to do Tai Chi here inside of New York.
So you might wonder, is that the best use of dollars, or are we better off paying for life-saving treatments in hospitals?
One of the largest fraud schemes in America is taking place in New York City, as billions of dollars is being defrauded by organized Korean and Chinese mafias, along with other foreigners operating and stealing taxpayer dollars. They are using the elderly and the needy to build the United States government billions of dollars at your expense.
So remember when we were talking about some of the socialist candidates in Colorado? I know this is a very strange segue here, but follow with me here. I promise it's going somewhere. There was this conversation about we need free early childhood care for all. That unlike other democratic socialists that are running around the country and saying we need free Medicare and free housing free healthcare and free housing and universal this and that and a workers' bill of rights. That's just nationalization and collectivization. But they also in Colorado have been talking about the need for completely federally funded, state-funded, early childhood care. And I told you at the time that that was a very bad thing. It doesn't work. How does that actually function, though? Well, here's what you do. You say, I'm taking care of X amount of children. And then you just write that bill. You just write an invoice to the state of Colorado. And Colorado just rubber stamps it and goes, okay, here's your money. And in the federal system, and again, Mamdani's talked about this in New York, whether you are taking care of the elderly, like in-home nursing home care, he wants you to be able to do the exact same thing. So whether you are saying, I'm running a daycare, wink, or I'm running a nursing home, wink, that's what Shirley's going around and looking at. We saw the same thing with the investigation with Parker Thayer and, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. His investigations over at the Daily Wire are excellent. It'll pop into my mind, I'm sure. This is happening all over the country because when you turn federal dollars in for everybody, you get fraud for everybody. Just that simple. Radio crew, welcome back from the commercial break. Nick Shirley diving into this fraud situation in New York City. There's one other clip we're going to show you. We're going to link this entire documentary from Nick Shirley in the description so that you guys can go see it because it's 50 minutes long. I haven't had a chance to watch all of it yet, but I have seen a couple of clips from it. It is salacious. Here you go.
The day Nick Shirley shows up to have an annual checkup, the odds of that happening are very, very slim.
So the way that Mamdani would say, the way that even previous administrations, like Joe Biden's administration, would say that these businesses, these various daycares or adult daycares, like for the elderly, that the reason that they are or the method of accountability, when you ask about them, they'll say, well, we have auditors that go around and check concerns. So he starts out by pointing out that it is very, very unlikely. You have like a 0.7% chance of ever being visited by an auditor because that's how many of these fraudulent businesses there are.
The day Nick Shirley shows up to have an annual checkup, Odds of that happening are very, very slim. So you guys received $5.5 million in 2025. In your peak day, you guys have...
So they're like panicking because he's asking them about the money that they're receiving. And so he's like, quick, come back inside. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to me. Don't say anything at all. By the way, the other investigator's name I was forgetting over at the Daily Wire is Luke Rosiak, Rosiak. So they start panicking. Oh, wait, come back inside.
341.
Leave. Escape.
Yeah, right here. So how come one day you guys had 300?
So he's telling her to leave. And she says, no, it's okay. I'll interview. I'll talk to him. What could happen?
48 beneficiaries.
No, I didn't answer. Can you give me permit?
We don't need a permit to film.
So she's like, oh, I'll come in and said, oh, no, I'm not answering any questions. Where's your permit? He's like, we don't need a permit to film. And I want to make this clear for just everyone out there. There are a lot of videos that are circulating social media where like people are walking up to those who are filming in public, on public streets, on publicly accessible sidewalks. And people are coming up and saying, you don't have a right to film me. I have to give you my consent for you to film me. That's not a thing, guys. That's not a law. There is no law. It's the same as people said, I don't give Facebook permission to share my photo. That's not a thing. Don't rely on people who believe that you have to have some kind of special permit to be filmed or spoken to by a journalist. Your best, if you are her, you goofed the moment that you agreed to take any questions at all. Also, this is why you should speak English, so that you can recognize when hearing someone's first questions what they're up to. Not to, give advice to those who might be permitting or participating in a ton of fraud, but,
But do you think there is fraud taking place here inside some of these daycares, ma'am?
Cricket.
Can you give me your ID? Everybody,
Can you give me your ID?
Yes, sir.
Give me your ID.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So give each other your IDs. Give her your ID.
So it's going swimmingly. Now let me give you some of the details here. Nick Shirley visited multiple facilities receiving massive public funding and highlighted discrepancies suggesting that there may be ghost beneficiaries, inflated claims, we're going to get to that in a second, and the misuse of taxpayer dollars. All of that. Remember the whole waste, fraud, and abuse thing that you were told didn't exist when Doge was looking through things? There's no waste, fraud, and abuse, and if it is happening, it's very small and it's very rare. And it's probably good that it's happening, that kind of thing. One daycare reportedly received $5.5 million while only claiming 341 to 348 beneficiaries. What does that mean? They're receiving way too much money for only having 341 people that supposedly go there. An adult daycare received $12.9 million, but had far fewer actual members than the 7,900 that it claimed, 7,899. The adult daycare claimed and therefore got $12.9 million. So by the way, if you do the math and you cut that number in roughly half, that means that that one daycare that received 5.5 million should have been reporting around 3,000 beneficiaries. They had 1/10 of that. That's the kind of rough math that should be going in there. Staff at several of the sites refused to answer questions, provide ID, or allow entry. Some of these facilities appeared underutilized or just empty. So basically you have an adult daycare center in one of these situations they showed up to, and it's just an empty warehouse that like Amazon may have used once, possibly, maybe, no one has any idea. And of course, this is my favorite, there are a bunch of luxury vehicles like Range Rovers parked outside of the facilities. So these are supposed to be facilities like funded by public money, and there's no one in there, and the staff at the place happen to be driving Range Rovers parked outside. Incredible. Broader claims of over $190 million in alleged fraud across adult and home care scams in the New York City area involving home care agencies and similar operations. And as we talked about with Luke Rosiak here on the Tony Kinnettcast, if you go out to Ohio and you go through a lot of buildings where you have these home care agencies where there's like 300 federally or state-funded home care agencies in these empty office park buildings, across the hall, or even at the same address, owned by the same person who owns one of the home care agencies, will also be a shell trucking company that's fraudulent and shouldn't exist. Excellent. Excellent indeed. Now, by the way, you may remember that Nick Shirley was told, and you and I were told, that he didn't actually expose anything when he was in, Minnesota, for example. And you remember videos where he was going around talking to people like, what's one of those ladies' name? Well, let's see if one of these individuals pops up in the older Nick Shirley video here.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center, this building received over $3 million. Hello, how are you?
He goes up to this one lady and anyway, introducing Fahima Mahmoud. He goes up and says, hey, what do you have going on? What's going on in this daycare center? There's nobody here. And can I sign my kid up to be in this daycare center?
I would like to see if I could bring little Joey, my son, little Joey here. Is there paperwork or can I check out the daycare? No.
No? Gee, wait, a daycare that's not accepting any applicant? There's like nobody in there? Man, this is kind of weird, Fahima Mahmoud. Again, remember, Nick Shirley said that he was harassing all these people. California, the state of California, the Democrats in their state assembly introduced a bill specifically to block Nick Shirley types from asking any questions after they saw this stuff.
Why can't I check out the daycare?
Martin's not here.
Okay, but if I can't get paperwork or anything to submit my son, little Joey, to come in here to daycare? We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card, actually.
Yeah, because when you're a parent, when you go to look at like a daycare for your kids, what you do is you bring business cards. Ah, yes. Incredible. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I forgot the most important part about, again, Miss Fahima Mahmoud. She has now pled guilty to $3.7 million. $3.7 million in fraud.
5 months after she shut down her daycare, booked a flight.
By the way, you always love that, like the fact that they get to wear like the full extra super duper body covering thing is so that you can't see her face as she walks in shame. And a little fun fact here.
5 months after she shut down her daycare, booked a flight to London, and was arrested by the FBI.
Oh, she tried to flee to Londonistan. Oh.
Mahmoud, are you here to plead guilty today?
50-year-old Fahima Mahmoud admits she committed daycare fraud.
Wow. Just incredible. I can't believe it. Nick Shirley didn't notice anything. I mean, amazing. Again, you would think, remember they said that the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, that it had already done the work, and they had covered some fraud and some concerns ages ago. But I don't remember the Minneapolis Star-Tribune having people like actually going through the community and talking to individuals like this one. That was Nick Shirley who did that. Wow, just strange, isn't it? Curious, ain't it? Sure is interesting.